Thank you for listening. This is the Jake and Josh podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Josh.
And you are listening to episode 24. We're almost a quarter of the way to 100.
We're a quarter of the way to being 4 away from 100.
We're a quarter of the way to 96.
That's 3 ways to say the same thing. We'll do that all episode. We'll do that through the whole program.
Yeah, for the entire episode, we'll do that.
There was a pube stuck in my pop filter, and then it went in my mouth, and now I know how women feel. Ugh, that is uncomfortable. I did have to say something.
I'll shave next time.
So, Jacob, let's go ahead and start the episode with... Fuck you. I did that last time, too. I apologize. Jake.
Thank you.
Because the Jacob and Josh
it's just
podcast...
Not the
ugh, Jesus.
The Jacob and Jesus podcast.
The Jacob and Yeshua. A third way to say that. Okay. The point is we don't lie to our listeners.
Also, if it was the Jacob and Josh podcast, we wouldn't get to take advantage that sounds eerily similar to Drake and Josh.
That's what I predicated.
The popular Nickelodeon show.
I predicated the whole podcast success on the fact that subliminally people will be like, hey, that sounds like Drake and Josh, and I love that show. Like, they were so good.
Obviously, they're great if they sound like Drake and Josh. Wait, Drake and Josh. Jake and Josh.
Naked and Josh.
And afraid. Naked and afraid and Josh.
Naked and afraid of Josh. Which a few people can relate to. That was, okay. So, Jake, first off, I would like to comment on the fact that you're wearing plaid shorts with green shorts under them, and the green shorts are longer than the plaid shorts.
Only because of the way I'm sitting. I'm wearing basketball shorts underneath my regular shorts.
Just in case we would have played basketball.
Yeah, that was the intention.
But instead we podcasted.
Yeah.
So I'm at Subway the other day, and...
Eat fresh. Subway gives money.
I'm trying to think of a second way to say eat fresh, but I don't want to reference Jared. But I do.
Devour recently?
So I'm at Subway the other day. The point is not the Subway. The point is I'm in line.
You weren't at a Subway. You were at Subway,
the restaurant,
yeah.
the sandwich shop. And there is a lady, I forget, that is a good point that you pointed that out because some of our listeners are in New York and you don't just assume.
Like us.
So this lady, she's got her kid with her, and the kid is just fucking nagging, and he's like, I want soda. And it became immediately clear that the mom felt like there was some kind of social judgment from people around her that what kind of mother would give their young child soda.
Apparently a lot.
Well, in reality, yes. But she took it upon herself to kind of kneel down a bit and say to her child, she didn't have eye contact with the child, she had eye contact with myself and everyone else around her in line, and she's like, now, sweetie, you know you only have soda on special occasions. I don't just get you soda. And then still looking at everyone around her like...
You don't even know what soda is, remember?
Yeah, it's just that special drink for special times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, lady... Well, actually, I wasn't...
Shut your fat kid up and give him soda.
He wasn't even fat. I'm like, if you are giving him
give
soda...
Him time.
But if she's giving him soda and he looks like that, keep giving him soda. Like... I don't see a problem with it.
Soda's his whole diet.
What if soda, the caffeine from it, increases his heart rate enough to burn off everything everything he ever eats or drinks, just gone?
I'm sure there's enough caffeine that you could get that would get your heart rate pumping that high to just burn that many calories, but that dosage would also probably kill you.
Anything can kill you. Enough apple seeds.
That's true.
No, okay.
Is it arsenic or... arsenic.
Yeah,
it's
arsenic.
Apple juice.
I almost said arson, but that's that thing I got arrested for. But I think the bigger issue I had is that this lady felt the need to do that, and I think it's because socially, everyone thinks that like kids are benevolent creatures that would not dare ask for soda if that's not a normal drink they get.
If you don't have kids, you should know kids are shitheads.
They lie. Most of them are ugly. Yeah, just those two.
Kids are like mid-2000s Eddie Guerrero. They lie, they cheat, and they steal.
Oh my God, when he was a part of the Party Animals? Or maybe after that.
The Filthy Animals. That was WCW.
Dang, I went too far back because I quit watching wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing out now.
Okay, every time you do nerd stuff, we're going to play this.
Nerd stuff.
Even though wrestling's nerd stuff. And I tried to find a Vince McMahon.
Just play his theme music. No chance in hell.
I tried to find it. This is all I could get.
Donald Trump? Yeah!
That was when he was...
That's what's going to... Hillary should play that when she wins the election.
Oh, my God. You know, okay, if Hillary wins the election, it's going to be really weird. Does Barack Obama do the typical black thing and file for unemployment? I mean, I hope he's been paying into it.
I want to see his tax returns.
I want to see his birth certificate.
Still.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and play...
It was pretty recent, but did you hear about Donald Trump finally saying okay, President Obama was born in the USA?
Man, as if anyone could actually prove it.
That's out of all the bullshit that he could have finally admitted was bullshit. He picked something that we were all yeah, we know 5 years ago.
My favorite thing was for the media correspondence dinner. God, the year that was the big story.
That would have been 2012, I think.
So after when he went up for a re-election.
Yes.
So there's that big controversy about where he was born, and then he came out to the dinner to
Real American, Hulk Hogan's theme music. Oh, it was perfect.
Jeez. We've already talked about wrestling twice.
So the intro video was his birth certificate played to the music, and then he came back and he was like, and if that's not enough for you, I also have my birth video, which no one has seen since that day. So let's play it. And it was the intro scene to The Lion King.
I think, okay, my favorite thing about that is someone's job was to take a picture of the birth certificate and then play it in a video that went to I Am a Real American for the president of the free world. That was someone's job.
His first line was, my fellow Americans.
So the speechwriter also had fun. Let's go ahead, before we get crazy off topic, let's go ahead and play our theme music. Jake, will you please introduce our theme music?
Yeah, this is our theme music.
See, we said that 3 times.
Coming at you live from Building 7 in New York, it's the only show that always has its dick out for Harambe, making America okay again. It's the Jake and Josh Podcast.
Welcome back. Doesn't that theme music make you want to grab women by the pussy?
Too soon.
Not soon enough.
No, I'm saying I want to grab women by the pussy too soon, when they're below certain ages. Just kidding.
Just kidding, just kidding. Dicks out. Dicks out for Trump Harambe? No, that doesn't work.
I don't hate Trump Harambe.
Well, it'll only become a thing if he gets shot at the Cincinnati Zoo, though.
Which... It's a certainty he might get shot. I don't know.
If he went to Cincinnati, it's a high likelihood. High probability.
It is a hood, yeah.
Yeah, it is a hood. The whole of Cincinnati, all of Cincinnati is a hood.
I don't think I ever told you a story, so I went to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is it's the foreskin of Ohio. Because it's the hood.
Why'd you call the United States Ohio?
It's just Ohio. It says the foreskin of Ohio.
So every state has its own foreskin?
Yeah, Indiana's is Fort Wayne.
I'm trying to think, what state would be circumcised? Florida? Just because it already looks like a...
Maine?
Let me get that skin back, Maine. Jesus, that's gross. Okay, so I went to Cincinnati like 2 months ago, and
Why?
Bad life decisions,
Okay.
years of drug abuse. I was abused as a child. Like, what do you want?
You were abused with drugs as a child.
Yeah. While they were grabbing me by the pussy. Okay. And I'll never forget this moment. We're driving, and it's not... Cincinnati doesn't look like it's the worst neighborhood on earth, but we're...
Until you get there.
Even then, you're like, did they film Full House here? But we're driving on the street, and I see this guy... I see this guy in an intersection, this big, muscular, black guy, and I'm like, I hope he's nice. And he's just kicking cars that are driving. He is in the middle of the road kicking cars that drive past him. And I have this moment where I'm like, is he kicking cars?
Is that Kimbo Slice?
We drive past him, and we swerve, and he doesn't kick our car, and he kicks the car behind us. And I'm like, they should have swerved.
God dang.
Who the fuck kicks moving cars?
That guy. Maybe
Man.
he's a bad panhandler.
Maybe he was Harambe.
That would
No,
be...
he was too buff to be panhandling. He had food.
He was manhandling.
Ah, that's a good one. Why were we talking about Cincinnati? Oh yeah, foreskin.
Speaking of foreskin, do you know how circumcision got started?
Actually, no. I'm intrigued.
So I don't know the.
I know it's in another culture.
It's a big thing in Jewish culture, and I don't know the 100% reason why in Jewish culture. I think it has something to do with, hey, instead of killing your kid, just cut part of his dick off. I think it had something to do with that with Abraham. But Christian culture adopted it as kind of a deterrent to masturbation. And boy, that worked well.
Yeah. Although, and I'll never know because I'm circumcised, but like, does masturbation feel better if you have skin to additionally like rub over? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know if I know anybody that isn't circumcised.
Here's the thing that makes me wonder about it being a Jewish culture thing, though. I read Nelson Mandela's A Long Walk to Freedom.
Yeah.
And it was like a ritual in where he grew up, which
Okay.
I don't actually believe he grew up in South Africa. I know he went to like through all the apartheid there, but
Apartheid what?
Jesus. Who? But anyways, like there was this big ritual where you go out, you like cover yourself in like white mud so you look like the men you want to be, and they like cut your shit off right there, and it's like all the guys all go at once. And the weirder thing is you get circumcised when you're not a baby, so it's like right
That's weird.
when you on that cusp of puberty, like that.
When you can remember it.
Yeah. And he wrote about it in graphic detail. It was my third favorite part of the book.
Yeah, it's
but I'm also like, that was a Christian, like there were Christian missionaries there, so
yeah, that's
one, that's
probably
not
what
Jewish.
started it.
But, so do you think Jews started it, then Christians started it, and Christians went to Africa,
Well, I
and
mean,
then they started...
Christianity came after Judaism.
Everything did, except for Muslimism.
Islamity?
Ah.
Islamism.
Islamabad.
It's but it makes me think about like other weird shit that like, how did that come about? Like, who thought that up for the first time?
Yeah. Oh, and it's weird. Okay, so here's one of the weird things about history. And I swear to God, I'm going to tie this into what you just asked.
You say that every time.
I
You
swear.
say it every time.
Okay, at a certain point, I feel like humans were not cognitive of history, and therefore they were not cognitive of their part in history. So, for instance, if you're alive in the 1200s, you know, there's not a whole lot of reading and writing going on. So, and that's the most common way you hear about history.
Right.
So anything you do hear is typically stories that are told, and because then you have to be entertaining for people to want to listen, a lot of them are the mythological stories. And
they
like,
get embellished.
yeah, or epic poems are going around and shit like that. And so, you know, at what point did we become cognitive of, okay, history's a thing?
Hey guys, in 400 years, people are still going to be doing this.
Yeah, people are going to be wondering why we started cutting the skin off of penis heads.
People are going to wonder why sticking your finger up your butt can tell you if you have cancer. Like,
prostate. Yeah.
Like, who was the first doctor to just like, hey, I bet I can stick my finger up his butt and see if his prostate's swollen.
A brilliant idiot.
Probably before they even knew what a prostate was.
Well, sometimes I can't think of an example now, but sometimes I think of something. So I want to make like a theoretical cookbook. Okay.
It's already here.
What? Oh God! Stop. I mean, like, I've always thought it'd be cool to make a cookbook of things that sound amazing. I've never actually made it. But the premise being, it sounds like it would work. So if you generally understood what a prostate was, and then you knew the depth into the anus in which it was, and then you're like, you could tell by the touch if it was swollen.
Well, it's also weird because the prostate isn't actually in the butthole. It's like butthole
up
adjacent.
Your butt and around the corner. I always thought if I did prostate exams, that'd be on my business card.
Damn. I've never heard that idiom worked so well into conversation.
But yeah, I know you have to put your fingers in and then move them slightly to the side. I don't know how else to. Yeah. But also, why does it make guys come so hard?
I don't know. Apparently, it's like the male G-spot back there.
I always thought that was the most, out of all the things, people are like, God says he loves everyone, but then he lets people die. I'm like, okay, God also says don't be gay, and he put your G-spot like 9 inches in your asshole.
It's like, well, he didn't want people to be gay. He was like, well, I want them to have some fun too. They're still going to do it. It's like if you tell your kid not to climb on the couch, but then you walk out of the room. They're still going to climb on the couch.
Or what if he didn't think that we were going to do it, but he wanted...
There's no way dudes are going to be shoving dicks up their butt.
I mean, what if he thought there's no way.
But he wanted... It's God's first Easter egg.
Maybe. That's a weird way to look at it. But what if he was
They're
going
never
off
going to find this.
What if he was just going on the off chance of like, okay, I'm going to put their G-spot like 9 inches into their asshole, and then one day...
It's not that far. Could you imagine like fucking E.T. fingers going in their butthole?
Okay, I sleep better not knowing how close to the surface it is.
It's like, I mean, it's finger length.
For those of you listening at home, I'm staring at my fingers and wondering. Just kidding. But what if he was just doing it on the off chance of like one day a guy accidentally like fell on a corn dog or something? And he's like, that's going to be the best way to find out. And then they're just going to be shoving...
Jackpot!
They're all going to be shoving corn dogs in their asses. And I'm like, it's okay, it's not gay, it's a corn dog.
It's okay, I was thinking about a woman.
And you know what kind of condiment you put on a corn dog you shove in your ass? Mustard.
That doesn't be mayonnaise.
God! Hold on, we have to do 2. Okay, that's mustard, mayonnaise. I feel better now. We're caught up on rim jobs.
We catched up.
Hold on, that's... Jeez, shut up. Okay.
And it's appropriate that we're using corn dogs here because it's in between your buns.
It's time. Okay. If you hit 6 puns in 8 seconds, okay. That's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. What if we had a pun quota? I think we just hit it. God damn.
That was funny.
It makes your stick hard. I was trying so hard because corn dogs come on sticks. All right.
I heard a kid refer to a corn dog as a handle hot dog.
Whoa.
I was like, he's not wrong.
Yeah. So when you become cognitive of where you are in history. So, like, okay, prehistory cognition, is that the correct word in this instance? Prehistory cognition?
I think you're thinking of precognition.
Prehistoric cognition.
It's like that R. Kelly song. It's the remix to Precognition.
No rap. Fuck. God damn it. Anyways, so before the point I want to get to is before you're aware of history being a thing, it's really tough to acknowledge history will be a thing. Like the thing you're starting now as a trend could be history one day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so, like, the first person that's like, just cut their dick skin off. Like, he was just, I don't know what he was thinking or she.
He probably wasn't thinking, man, I bet 500 years ago people are still going to be doing this.
Oh, more than 500. I mean, we're like 1,000 years almost.
But, I mean, even then, 500 years ago was probably beyond the scope of what they were capable of.
And it's like now there's benefits to the fact of being history aware. Like, sometimes I think about during the Cold War, if we weren't aware of history and then conversely, like, aware of what your role will be in the history of the future, if we will have had. Damn, I knew you were going to do that. Like, that probably kept either side from going buck wild or fucking crazy, because you don't want to be that vilified character in history. Like, now that you know history's a thing, you don't want to be a Hitler or a Trump
or a Trumpler. Don-Dolph Trumpler.
Don-Dolph Trumpler.
A Donald Trumpler.
Mecha Hitler.
Mecha Barbara Streisand.
But that makes sense?
It does make sense.
So I always think about that with, like, circumcision or prostate exams. Like, they probably had no idea. And prostate exam is actually holding up. Like, that, it makes sense. It works. It saves lives. I love doing it with corn dogs.
You can do it yourself at home with your fingers.
Can we just name this episode, You Can Do It With a Corn Dog? Okay. They'll get it. Although I hate naming it after the thing that we talked about 20 minutes in, because I'm like, oh, then they're going to quit listening because I think that's all the funny shit we got. But I got gold. We got more. No, I have gold planned for the end of this episode.
Golden brown, like the corn dogs.
It actually might be golden brown. Here's my thought. I want to get, and this is like my teaser halfway through the episode, I want to get brutally honest at the end of every episode. So you have to listen. Oh. And it's a good one today.
Oh. I'm nervous.
I am too. I've never actually said this out loud.
I'm gonna have to check my prostate.
My prostate is so swollen right now. Okay, that was
swollen
gay.
With anticipation. Speaking of gay, did you know that, like, yesterday or whatever was National Coming Out Day?
Did anyone,
like, for gay people?
There's a holiday for everything.
I know. There's a national. Every day is a national something day.
Like 2 weeks ago was National Podcast Day. That's a big one for us.
Yeah, it was great. We didn't release a new episode. At least not on that day. It would have been perfect timing. Capitalize on your market, people.
Wait, so yesterday was coming out day?
Apparently. So I was at work yesterday, and one of my coworkers is like, Jake, do you know today's National Coming Out Day? Is there anything you need to tell me? And I was thinking for a second. I was like, with the recent trend of women wearing shorter haircuts and men wearing tighter pants, I really don't care whose butt I'm looking at anymore.
like what gender?
Yeah, I mean, like, so before, like, if I was at a gas station and I saw somebody bending over, I was like, damn, that's a nice butt. And then they turn around and it was a dude. I'm like, oh, fuck. But now I'm just like, well, I guess he's got a nice butt.
Okay, but how far does that go? So, like, let's say this guy had his balls on top of his wiener somehow, and then his wiener was, like, taped up, and so all you ever saw was from behind. Would you hit it?
As long as he stayed.
Yeah, like never looked at you, never made a definitive male noise.
If it was just a butt, I don't know, probably.
See, this is
the. I'd be able to tell that there was no bottom hole.
Wait, there is a bottom hole. You're in it.
No, that's if you're looking at a woman who's like in the doggy style position, there's the top hole, which is the anus.
I was trying to make a anal pun. And, Jesus, ugh. But like the bottom hole, you're in the butthole.
I got it. Okay. I get it now.
Okay, great.
And he's gonna get it.
I feel like our podcast is proof that locker room talk still happens.
I think our podcast shows that it's okay to talk about gay shit.
Yeah. And like
also, like I'm sure this has been said before, but I'm of the opinion that there's nothing gayer than worrying about what another man does with his penis.
Yeah. It kind of goes to that Yoda thing where he's like, you know, fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to suffering.
Suffering leads to gay.
Suffering is gay. Like, if you're a man and something can make you suffer, you're gay.
Yeah.
I've never uttered the statement, I'm suffering, or this will make me suffer. I'm just like, fuck this. And
I'm going to suffer for this later.
Maybe. Have I said that?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Have you been bent over in a gas station?
Not recently.
No, but so, it's anyway though. It's I just don't like. I don't know, with all these like gender different sexual orientations. I think a lot of it is attention getting.
See, and okay, so like me and you are very similar, but I've always taken you to be like maybe 5 to 8% more homophobic than me.
See, I would say less because I
jerked off to Bruno.
I was in Bruno.
Were you the security guard that went onto the bus?
I was the boy.
Oh, goddamn! I was the vacuum cleaner.
I was actually the stunt penis for when he was doing the helicopter dick.
Oh, and his urethral opening.
They didn't use my dick. Like, I was the stunt penis. Like, they dressed me up as a penis and then spun me around.
So you yelled Bruno.
Bruno.
Nice. That wasn't
bad.
Yeah,
especially because I haven't seen the movie since it came out.
Man,
okay.
I haven't seen the movie since I came out. Okay, that was gay.
Well, there's been a lot of studies that like correlate homophobicness to how gay you actually are.
Yeah.
And so the more like adamantly homophobic you are, the more latent homosexuality you have.
Dude, okay, so there's a subreddit I'm on. It's the r/askmen.
Okay.
My most downvoted comments are when I allude to the fact that every guy is a little gay. And like there's determining factors for how gay are you. And the guys are like, so there's degrees of being gay? I'm like, by you commenting that, you are 10% gay.
Like, I'm a little gay.
Dude, I love complementary colors. I can't get past them. The only exception being green and red because it's so, like, Christmas-ish. But blue and orange, done. Purple and yellow, get out of here.
Oh, they're supposed to look good together.
Okay, but, like, guys... Most guys don't even know what complementary colors are. I know you do because you probably understand the color wheel.
Yeah. Any color, if it's the opposite color on the color wheel, it matches.
Yeah. Like black and white. They're complementary shades.
Yeah. That's why every white man should have a black girlfriend. Or vice versa. Well, not vice versa.
No, I was wondering the other day why so many black guys are with white girls nowadays. I think there's a growingly disproportionate amount of hood ignorant black women versus hood ignorant black men. Like, black men are starting to get professional livelihoods.
Hoods.
Fuck, back to circumcision. But like, black women are just, and I think it started with the one on Wheel of Fortune that you showed me one time.
Oh, AF.
Yeah, like she made AF.
She set civil rights back 40 years.
Like Rosa Parks would be like, I'm off this bus.
I'm off this bus.
But an F became like 17 syllables. Yeah.
It was like
she guessed 5 letters in saying that.
It was UHAEEEUF. AF.
No, there was a U and an H after the F too. It's like
AFA.
She was saying what she is. Heifa. Okay.
She was saying the name of the band that made the song Miss Murder.
Oh my fuck. I'll give you a little bit. That's a little rim job.
A little rim job.
A little rim job from a little person.
Little Richard.
But yeah, okay, so there's a growingly disproportionate amount of ghetto black women versus ghetto black men.
Okay.
And I think, like, black men are just getting sick of it.
Okay.
That's just a theory. I haven't expunged on that theory beyond that. And
I do see a lot of like well-dressed, professional-looking black men in the workplace
yeah, like
now.
and I'm starting to get it from a white woman's perspective. Like, every guy's a little gay.
Yeah, I have no problem admitting when another dude's like, oh, he's hot.
Sometimes I play this game in public where if I see like a couple, I'll be like, if I had to do him to do her, would I?
It's a fun game.
And when the guy is black and handsome, I'm like, do I have to do her? Like, I'm cool with a one for.
I don't have to do this BOGO. Can I save the coupon for later?
Dude, yeah. I was going to say, I've tried to do that in stores before where I'm like, no, I only need one. And they're like, but it's 2 Big Macs. I'm like, I get it. Give it to this guy.
Just give him my free Big Mac. Let him save his coupon.
Robert Mathis got a sack yesterday, and that's why I get
something that hasn't been said all Colt season.
Oh, yeah. Touche. It's coming.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
That's a disappointment.
Are you voting for the next president?
I don't think I've even made up my mind on who I'm going to vote for yet. I don't know who I hate less.
Yeah, it is.
It's tough.
This literally is like, I've hated how much the euphemism is overused of the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, this is it. This is like the definition.
I recently read a book, and it's written by the same guy that wrote The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Okay.
But it's called The Psychopath Test, and it's really tough. It's almost like a Dan Brown novel. Have you ever read any of those?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like, there's facts in there, but the story itself is fictional.
See, yeah, that's what Dan Brown, I think, gets shit on in the literary community, but I think that's what makes his books so entertaining is because it's like, it's a fictional book, but it's based in fact.
They're entertaining, but they're not creative. That's where the shitting on comes from.
I can see that.
He doesn't have to come up with any concepts except for...
Well, and it's still kind of the same, like the same plot for each book is kind of the same thing. The twists aren't generally...
Okay, I'm going to nerd out for a moment. People think that, but he actually has a few books like Digital Fortress and...
It was great.
Fuck. There was one, it was like in Antarctica. I think it was called Deception Point.
Yes.
But had nothing to do with the Vatican or any of that
stuff. Those were, I think, the 2 books that weren't Robert Langston. Books.
Yeah. Professor Langston.
Yeah, they had 2 different...
I don't know him by Robert.
Well, that's what his name was. Tom Hanks.
Yeah, but the other one, Deception Point, phenomenal.
But those are probably 2 of my favorites, and those are the 2 that never hit mainstream because they weren't about Robert Langston.
Yeah, well, they also weren't about controversial topics. Glowing algae under a glacier was shockingly, like me saying that, I'm like, man, that sounds dumb. That book was incredible.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites.
But yeah, there's no one up in arms about that, and that creepy fucking white black guy that's in
The Da Vinci Code.
Oh, Jesus. Man.
They skipped over one of his books, too. They skipped over The Lost Symbol to make... They're making... Inferno is coming out soon. And which is weird because out of Angels and Demons, The Da Vinci Code, Inferno, and The Lost Symbol, I thought The Lost Symbol was the best out of those 4.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Man. I really liked Angels and Demons.
It was better than The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Not the movie. The book was better than The Da Vinci Code.
I haven't seen any of the movies. Still.
Da Vinci Code was alright. Angels and Demons was kind of a...
I picture them all kind of being like National Treasure. Like, I know it's Tom Hanks, but it's really Nicolas Cage. Riley's there.
The Angels and Demons movie really lost that discovery of being when they had those symbols that were the same upside down. Like there was something else
the Illuminati
down.
Stuff. You could turn it upside down and flip it, and it was the same.
Yeah, like turning my book upside down to see what the symbol was blew my mind when I was reading it the first time.
My dad didn't think I could read because of that. He's like, you're not even... It's like, you're not even trying. I'm like, I'm out.
He's the reason I got held back a grade.
In kindergarten. If I'd have been reading that shit in kindergarten, if it was out,
you'd be me.
Fuck, how'd we get on this topic?
I don't know. We were talking... You asked if I was going to vote in the upcoming presidential election.
Okay. When you said you'd be me, you reminded me of Anthony Jeselnik and like how you delivered that. And that reminded me, have you checked out his Twitter recently?
No.
He's getting kind of political. And I'm
really?
like, fuck. He used to be like the darkest. Have I ever told you? Okay, so, and I'm sure you know what this word is. Like, my favorite type of joke is a paraprostokian, where...
It's kind of similar to a non sequitur.
Speaking of non sequiturs... Did I do that right?
Well, a non sequitur is something that wouldn't have a segue.
Oh, and then I just fucking segued. So I did that completely wrong.
Like, we've established that I sell cell phones for...
By the seashore.
But we have never specified which carrier, and it will remain that way. But,
I tried to one episode.
Yeah, that was funny. But we have like a sandwich board, and I like to change what's written on it. every week or so I'll change. I'll make up like a promotion for just in store. And the other day I put, we've got tablets. Yes, we do. We've got tablets and also the occasional non sequitur.
God, I hope anyone appreciates that.
I didn't sell any tablets.
When the joke is so good that you know only one-ish person might get it, you gotta pray for that one person.
Yeah, that they come in.
So what's a sandwich board? Is that just like a whiteboard?
It's like the A-frame.
Oh, so you put it outside the store?
Yeah, I have one that I jury-rigged a dry erase board to the front of it. Because it was just like one where I could stick like a paper advertisement in, and show off like what promotions were going on. But I got rid of that and like I got some of those like 3M sticky pads and stuck the.
That's
it was
the
like
shit.
The marker board was like the perfect size to fit right in there. So now I write whatever I want.
Nice. I have a tiny dry erase board at work, and the other day I put the most subtle thing about the word subtle is the B. And like no one laughed, and I'm like, God damn it, that's fucking perfect. Here's my 2-week notice.
We have a big marker board at my work as well that I use to like keep track of how everybody's doing. And then I also put quotes up that I change semi-regularly. I made up a quote and put it up there, but attributed it to Teddy Roosevelt. And one of my employees called me out. He's like, Teddy Roosevelt didn't say that. I was like, good job.
Wow.
But the other one was a Jack Handy quote that I did not write. Jack Handy
from Deep Thoughts.
Yeah, and he took a picture of it and like shared it on Facebook. I was like, nice.
Yeah,
I'm literally surprised that anybody I work with.
But then
knew about Jack Handy.
But here's what I wonder. Okay, so some things like that. So I thought Jack Handy was brilliant for what he did at the time. Like nowadays, he wouldn't be in the top 100,000 funniest people on earth.
I've always thought his quotes were great.
It's because he was kind of like Twitter before Twitter. Like they were all 140 characters or less. One of my favorites, he goes, I imagine a world without war, a world without anger or violence, and I imagine we'd invade that world because they never see it coming. Like, brilliant. But sometimes I think if you put a quote up and don't attribute it, people may pay attention more. They're like, who the fuck is Jack Handy? And they get so caught up in that.
I didn't put that it was Jack Handy. I just put the quote up there. The quote was actually, my dad always thought that laughter was the best medicine, which I guess is why so many of us died of tuberculosis.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I gave myself a nice chuckle as I was writing it.
I have a copy of Deep Thoughts, but then I found out he's come out with like a couple others, and I refuse to.
It's not. You don't have a copy of Deep Thoughts. It's a copy of Deep Throats.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the Blu-ray. Got it.
And it's Jack with your handy.
Can I give you a life pro tip?
Sure.
Don't ever watch a porn DVD with the director's commentary. Because they jerk off to it, too. You live and you learn.
No, because then you're listening to the director tell the actors how to talk dirty. And telling him when to finish.
Telling him when to finish? Come!
I can only imagine, like, they have to... I mean, could you imagine having to come on cue?
They probably do it like stand-up comedy, and there's like a blue light in the room that flashes when you have 2 minutes left.
It's like there's a good sale at Kmart.
I did say blue light, didn't I? Jesus.
Speaking of Kmart, rest in peace, Kmart.
Are they done?
I think they're shutting down more stores.
Yes! I can't fucking... The other day, so I drive past Walmart. Jesus. I drive past Kmart every day on my way to work, and they had a sign up that said, now hiring. I'm like, no, you're not. Don't. God.
For what, those 6 people that are going to come in and use your layaway?
That's like a parent fighting for custody for their 17-year-old kid.
Just let him go wherever he wants to go.
It doesn't matter.
Let him get his own place.
You're going to spend more money hiring those people and training them up, and then just lose it. Like,
all right, you're hired, you're trained up, you all have insurance. Now the store's shutting down.
I can't. They're not going to make it till Christmas. And Sears too. I am blown away that Sears is still around.
I don't get it either.
I mean, even the fucking tower changed its name. Like,
now it's named after the kid from Different Strokes.
Wait,
Willis?
is it? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, fucking.
I was like Gary Coleman Tower.
Todd Bridges Tower.
Jesus.
Todd Bridges played Willis. For those who are not aware of different.
What else
Strokes.
has he been in?
Nothing.
Okay.
Jail.
Who am I getting mixed up with? Who's Jeff Bridges?
The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah, goddamn. Or I saw it on Netflix. They made a movie of The Giver.
They did.
Man, it's so dumb.
Is it? Because that was like I haven't watched it because that was like my favorite book as a kid.
Wait, what grade did you read it in?
Like
I was
third.
Sounds about right. I was in fourth.
So
nice.
It was weird in my elementary school. They had
Wait, you liked that book in the third grade?
Yeah.
Man, that's
it. Really spoke to me
because there's some retarded
because I really
third
wanted. It really spoke to me because I really wanted to learn how to see in color. Actually, the story about running away with a baby really spoke to me. But
mine was Go Dog Go.
My favorite book was
The Dickingest Dog. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
So my elementary school had this program where if you read books that were at your grade level, you got points.
Oh, was it AR?
Yeah, it was
Accelerated Reader.
No, it was augmented reality.
Nice.
So anyway, if you read books that were at your that were at your grade level, you could you got points, and at the end of like the semester or whatever, you cash in the points and you could get a book buy one and take home. But the problem was they didn't have any books in my library that were past a 5th grade level. And I was not to brag on myself, I guess, but I was reading I could read past that in the 3rd grade. So I read Holes and The Giver probably a combined 30 times in my elementary schooling because they didn't have anything that was remotely challenging for me, and those were probably my 2 favorite books. It was The Giver, Holes, and then any of the Wayside School books.
Oh God, Wayside School. Wait, okay, so remember the thing you just said about being above your
augmented reality.
About being way above your own reading level.
Yeah.
But first I have to make a comment.
But first.
Have you ever read Chicka Chicka Boom Boom?
No.
Okay, so the premise is all the alphabet has to climb to the top of this coconut tree.
Okay.
And at first A gets up there and it's fine. And
I
then
like
B,
it so far.
And then they just start getting up there, and the tree starts leaning, and eventually towards the end, once X, Y, and Z are going up, they go up, and then the tree crashes, and the letters come down, and they're there's a black eye.
There's a black guy?
Good one. But the F, I'll never forget. The F, it had a Band-Aid on it. And that's only remarkable because then for the next 2 years, and I read this in the 1st grade, then for the next 2 years, I became mesmerized with all the places you could fit Band-Aids on letters. I'd be reading a book, and I'd be like, whoa, with this font, you could fit 3 Band-Aids on an O. And I just don't know why. I pictured...
You didn't have 12-point font. It was how many Band-Aids you could fit on the letters.
Dude, this is before...
This is 4 Band-Aid font. It's Impact.
I was just... And this is before, word processors on computers. Actually, no, there was one,
It wasn't before them. Your school probably didn't have them yet.
Dude, we're still printing on perforated... where you had to rip the edge off all the... anything you printed just came out as one long sheet, and you had to, rip it and then rip the sides off, and then...
And it was carbon copied.
So, okay, back to reading above your reading level.
Yeah.
So, one theory I've always had, too, is that... Okay, let me talk about hot dog eating contests, and I'm going to tie it back into this.
Let's... Any chance you can to talk about wieners.
Shove them up your butt. Okay.
You need to take these mega seeds, Morty. Just do it for Grandpa. Just shove them way up your butt. And just get them way up there, Morty.
That was a live scene from the Rick and Morty live show.
That was actually the soundboard.
Yeah, that was great. Okay. What was I fucking talking about? Hot dogs. Okay.
Talking about wieners.
So before Kobayashi came in and completely revolutionized hot dog eating, the record, and I think they eat their hot dogs in 10 minutes. It had to be close to 30.
Yeah.
This guy comes in, he's 55. And to double the number like that's fucking incredible. But what's more incredible, I think, is that since that, everyone's eating 55. Everyone's eating 60, 65. Like, he came in, he showed you it can be done, and then everyone's like, oh, fuck, it's not that hard.
Well, it's like that in any sport. I mean, you had, was it, I forget who it was, but there was, like, people where I was like, there's no way anybody's going to be under 10 seconds in a 100-meter dash.
Oh, God, yeah.
And now
Usain Bolt.
Now Usain Bolt does it jogging.
He's like smiling the whole way for photos.
Yeah, he slows down at the end and still beats 10 seconds.
Yeah, Peyton Manning threw 49 touchdowns. The record,
yeah,
and then
it's
50,
been broken,
51, 55, like.
Yeah, it's been broken like twice now.
Yeah. In
the span of like 7 years.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And it'll probably get broke again. Derek Carr this year. Just kidding.
He's on a good pace.
Yeah.
No one had ever threw for 5,000 yards. Drew Brees has thrown for 5,000 yards like four times in his career.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see, like, once a milestone gets hit, like, oh, we can do this.
Yeah, once you quit using running backs, it's but I want to tie it into education.
Yeah.
Like, just like you in third grade, I'm reading like middle school level shit. Like, my teacher had to bring extra books to school for me to borrow from her. And that's remarkable to me at the time because I'm like, am I brilliant? But then I'm like, I'm really not that much more prone to intellectual capacity than most of my peers. The thing is, I think school like just doesn't. They get set on, okay, everyone learned this in the first grade. Everyone learned this in the second grade.
It's because
what if you taught second grade stuff to first graders? I think they'd get it.
Well, it's because all the funding is tied to test scores, so they have to know this certain amount of like this specific information to get more funding. Like, so if these kids aren't passing these standardized tests, the school loses more funding, which is so fucking counterintuitive to me. Like, the schools that are struggling should get more funding, if anything.
But you would destroy those tests if your first graders knew second grade shit. Your second graders knew third grade shit, and maybe even beyond that. Like, I don't think a second grader couldn't grasp multiplication.
Yeah, it's.
Wait, what grade do you learn multiplication?
I learned it in like second or third.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I kept thinking I learned it in like fourth, but I'm like, man, I could have learned that shit when I was 6.
Fourth and fifth is when they started teasing us with like
pre-algebra shit.
Yeah, very basic like pre-algebra.
They're like, this
shit.
is an X, but it doesn't mean times, and then the teacher just walks out of class.
No, I think like fifth grade they were like they teased us with algebra, but there was mainly like focusing on like fractions and log division. Like multiplying and dividing fractions, decimals and shit, and then like
dividing matrices, statistics.
Yeah, they were doing
finite,
conic sections, proofs.
I'll never forget my first equation with a variable. I'm like 2 times 4. I wasn't fucking around. How do you times?
Y equals 4 times plus B.
So you plus B 4 times.
X equals minus B plus minus the house over B2 minus 4X over 2. 2A? That was the quadratic formula.
God, the worst part is like once you do start getting shit that like they've completely given up the idea that you could do mental math and figure it out. They're like, show your work. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's the part that kills me because they teach all the kids like that there's only one, like, I mean, they only show them one way to come to the proper solution, the final solution. And no,
should I do it?
Don't.
Okay.
But then they make them show their work to make sure that they're only using that method to figure it out. I'm of the opinion if the kid gets the right answer, it doesn't matter how they figured it out.
Okay, partially I think that they want you to show your work so they know you're not getting your answers on the back of the book. But why use a book that has the answers in the back?
I was going to say, you know how you get rid of that problem? By not doing the questions in the back of the book.
Yeah.
In my book, it was always the odd-numbered questions that were in the back of the book. My teachers always gave us the even-numbered ones for homework.
Dude, ditto.
Yeah.
But the other thing, too, is, and I would use this, I do like the answers in the back of the book, because if you have the answer and the solution, you can sometimes figure out how the fuck they figured it out. Like, I would, because even though we were doing the even numbers for, like, homework, I would look at an odd one. If I didn't get what I was doing, I'd look at an odd one, look at the answer, and be like, got it.
But it was like, but even on, like, tests and shit, they made you show your work. But because I could do, when you're reducing the equations down, when you have to simplify the equations or do, like, the...
divide everything by 2, just to, like, bring it down.
Yeah, or if you're doing the... What the fuck is it called? Where it's 2 equations in parentheses next to each other, and you have to FOIL them.
Oh, yeah. First, outer, inner, last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what those are fucking called now. But, like, I could do all that shit in my head, so I would just write the answer.
Polynomials?
Yes.
Dang.
But I just do them in my head and write the answer, and then I'd get, like, half credit off because they'd be like, show your work. I'm like, fucking why? I got the answer right.
Yeah, my teacher would be like, it's a B. You didn't show your work. I'm like, how'd you figure out it was a B? You didn't show your work. Like, fuck you. Don't give me no shit.
Yeah, I never understood the need for, like, such scrupulous grading.
No, the worst is when you... Have you ever been graded for organization?
No.
Okay, I had 2 teachers, Miss O'Connor and Miss Shoemaker. I'm naming them. I'm not saying what school they teach.
I'm calling you out.
Yeah, somewhere in the lower state of New York region. But anyways, and they grade you on organization. And, like, in both classes, I had the highest score you could have with having a 0 in organization. And I'd be like, okay, that isn't bullshit, because I'm not organized according to your system, but I clearly haven't missed anything else according to all the other grades.
Yeah. I thought it was stupid because I showed up to class with a fucking collective bargaining agreement for my organization. And I still got points off.
I need to quit breathing.
No, Jake, we didn't want you to start up a labor union. Wanted you to make sure that you could keep your pencils inside your desk.
Wait, is the NFL technically a labor union?
Yeah.
By definition?
It's a players' union.
It's weird to think about.
All the major sports leagues have a union.
Not curling. Okay. So we are at...
Because it's an amateur sport.
We're at about 51 and a half minutes. Can I talk about something deeply personal that I've never talked about to anyone ever before?
Except for me before the show?
No, ever.
Just fucking with you.
Oof.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have accidentally... And this is years ago.
Masturbated to gay porn.
Close. This is years ago, at least 7 years ago. I have accidentally masturbated to pictures of babies. Because, and this is, I want to bring attention to this, if your Facebook photos are provocative, and then like every like 8th photo it goes away from you and it's just like a picture of your baby, and I was doing stuff and just swiping through, it's like a fucked up landmine, like, and I don't know how to deal with it. Because now these babies are all like 8, and I still see them on Facebook, and I'm like,
If only you knew what I did while scrolling past you.
Yeah, I never forget a face I finished during. Like, oh, that's so bad. Oh, god damn.
You have to cut this part out at the end.
I don't know. But that is messed up. Like, why would you do that? And then in the
why
middle
are
have
you
a picture of your...
the pictures on Facebook? Get on Instagram, you weirdo.
This is before Instagram.
Oh, you did say it was 7 years ago.
At least. Because now there's Instagram.
Yeah. And Snapchat.
God.
Snapchat, the pictures autoplay, too.
Dude,
if you get on
I
their
actually
story.
don't have a Snapchat.
Snapchat, like if you click on their story, it just plays like the pictures or videos in their story.
I can't deal with that temptation.
I don't really post much on it.
Yeah.
I just see it.
Man. Can you imagine the amount of child pornography that goes through Snapchat's like servers and no one has a problem with it?
We're not talking like child porn where it's like 10-year-olds. We're talking like probably like 15, 16-year-olds sending
I
nudes
would
to each other.
not be shocked if there were 12-year-olds. If that was at least 20% of it.
I'll meet you at 16%.
I'm down.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say you'll meet me at 16. I was like,
16%
yes.
is the age of consent in Indiana.
Okay.
16%.
But my point is, I feel like Snapchat should have a legal responsibility, and I don't know who would have to enforce this. You can't have that... I wish. You can't have that much child porn going through your servers.
Yeah.
Even if it's a kid sending it to a kid.
Which, I don't know. I feel
Is
like
that child porn?
I feel like that's ambiguous. If it's like a 16-year-old sending it to another 16-year-old, I'm like, I guess that's okay.
What if an adult sees it? Like, just the other day, I saw this news article about I think it was a dad or a stepdad that went to jail for keeping sext messages that he had saved to his phone from his daughter, like, to her boyfriend, but her boyfriend is above the age of 18 and she's below, like, legal age. So it's this issue. He's trying to get the boyfriend in trouble, and then he goes to the police and he's like, hey, I have this, and they're like, well, by law, get in the cell. Like,
yeah, that's a fucking dumb law. Like,
that's tough.
It's vaguely written because it's one of those laws that was written before we had, technology where fucking 14-year-olds were able to send titty pictures of themselves.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to let that ad go. They have to, because my other thought is, like, what if you find, like, a bag of cocaine or something, and you turn it into the police, and they're like, well, you have it in your hand, get in the cell. Like,
which, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, look, hey, I found this bag of coke.
You can have it, just press charges. It was him. Like,
yeah.
And it's weird to me.
That's how it works. Like, if you find something like that and you turn it in.
Okay, but then.
That's how it should be in that regard as well.
Wait, with the child porn thing?
Yeah.
But my thought is, in order to combat child porn, you have to reduce how much is out there. Snapchat is a huge amount. Like, there was a Snapchat leak, I think, like 2 years ago. I mean, thousands of pictures get put out, and who knows how old any of these people are.
Well, the big thing with Snapchat is that the pictures disappear after a certain length of time.
But they still went... I mean, I can still find in my cache and my cookies, like, just the weirdest, most random shit I've Googled. It's still somewhere in digital form.
You're probably right, yeah.
And I mean, it clearly is if it got leaked, because the pictures didn't just go away. They're somewhere, and someone's enjoying them.
Yeah. Snapchat needs, at the end of every day, a clear history of just every picture that went through.
Yeah. Or incognito browser.
Snapchat incognito.
God damn. No, but I seriously do think about that. Stuff like Snapchat. And then Twitter and Instagram have it too, but the difference is it's public.
Yeah.
And then you could, if it is child porn, you could press charges. But Snapchat, it's like peer-to-peer or peer-to-group.
Yeah.
And it goes to the servers.
You can't screenshot it without letting the other person know.
Well, that's why you get a second phone and you take a picture of it. Not that I've done that.
That's perfect. Let me buy another $800 phone.
Just buy a disposable camera. Spend $20. Go get the pictures developed.
So that's what my digital camera's for. Yeah, our laws are so archaic. It's crazy. We have so many laws that never got updated with the advent of so much technology.
And technology...
Like the Second Amendment. Like, could you imagine?
That's the women vote? Just kidding.
That's the 20th.
19th.
Whatever.
Good try.
I round up. If she's 19, I'm 19. So anyway, the Second Amendment, that's the right to bear arms. Could you imagine if we could go back in time and bring a fucking assault rifle to the Founding Fathers and you'd be like, hey, do you think everybody should be able to have one of these?
The bigger issue is if we bought assault rifles back then, the militias would have won. Like Bacon's Rebellion, we'd be the Bacon United States of America.
the United States of Bacon. And Kevin Bacon would be president.
Oh my God.
Francis Bacon would be on our money.
Okay, it's Francis Bacon. Just kidding, he wasn't French.
It's Francis Bacos.
Jesus.
Francis Bacon bits. But yeah, could you imagine? Like, they'd be like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
Because they wrote that law. They wrote those laws because it took a minute and a half to load the gun again.
It took about the same amount of time as it takes to reload a Super Soaker.
I can run around and collect all my Nerf arrows in the time it took somebody to reload a musket.
I'm more upset because at the time, the word privacy only referred to what you do in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's why
because it was called the privy.
Yes. Wow. That is a good point. I never actually made that connection. So the Constitution doesn't protect the right to privacy, and that has been used as like the legal basis for like what's the thing Bush did?
The Patriot Act.
Yeah, they're like, well, the Constitution doesn't protect your right to privacy.
Wait, you said the thing Bush did. I meant 9/11.
But like, okay, they're not going to say it protects your privacy because they're not going to be like, oh, the Constitution, this giant legal document, says, yeah, it's cool as shit. Like,
They meant you have privacy in the bathroom.
yeah. So that's weird.
Yeah.
I think. Are we done?
I think that's enough for tonight.
That's episode 24. You heard it here first.
That's a wrap.
We laughed a
You
little
also
bit.
heard it here last.
Yeah. I mean, everything you did last.
You just heard it. Everything
and
you
you're just hearing this.
Yeah, everything you just heard, you will have heard it most recently.
All right, that's it. All right, bye.
Love you.